Hello everyone. So I'm finally back to reviewing the X-Men movies, this time with The Last Stand, which I usually just like to call X3. I'm not really a fan of this movie. Now, just as a film, like a sci-fi action film, I think that it's okay. It's not completely terrible. But as an X-Men film, I think that it's a failure. Because first off, it's adapting two storylines at once, both of which would work great as their own movies, but no, they had to go smash them together in this one. So you've got the Dark Phoenix saga, and you've got the Cure storyline from Astonishing X-Men. Both are, really good stories, but Dark Phoenix is, I would say, the better one. I think that, Dark Phoenix is arguably the greatest X-Men story. And so what do? They reduce Phoenix to the B plot and make the Cure the A plot. So yeah, Phoenix is pretty wasted in this movie, and you're gonna hear me use that word a lot in this review because there's so many things and so many characters that this movie just wastes. So Phoenix, after, they spent the second movie building up to her, which I really like the build up that they did there. In this, really, all she is she just stands around with a blank expression on her face, and then in a couple scenes, she disintegrates some stuff, and that's it. So yeah, they screwed that story up, and, I know that the Dark Phoenix movie came out recently, and I did not see it, and I'm probably not going to see it for a while, because I've not heard good things, and it didn't look all that interesting to me to begin with, so they managed to screw up the Dark Phoenix saga in not just one movie, but two. Nice. So as I said, this movie wastes a lot of things. They wasted the Dark Phoenix saga. They wasted, quite a few other characters, like Angel. This whole film series has wasted Angel. But yeah, he gets, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 scenes. He gets, he actually flies in maybe 2 of them. No, he flies in 3, because you got the scene where he breaks out of the lab, then whenever he saves his dad, and then whenever he flies at the end. He never actually teams up with the X-Men. Like, you don't see him actually become a member of the team or anything. And also, this is the only movie in the whole series that actually has all 5 of the original team from the comics, but they share no screen time together. So there you go, there's another wasted opportunity. Speaking of the original X-Men, you know who else was a member of that team who is horribly mishandled in this movie? Who is, in my opinion, arguably the most important character of the X-Men next to Professor Xavier, Cyclops. Now, I've talked about, how he's been handled in these movies. I thought that the first movie did the best job with him because he got a decent amount of screen time, a little bit of character development, and actually got to lead the team. X-Men 2, I thought should have given him more to do. But I still like James Marsden in the role. I think that none of that was his fault. That was the script. I think that he had it in him to be a great Cyclops, but he got cheated. And this movie does the absolute worst thing, I would say the most insulting thing to me that any of the films ever did, is they kill Scott off with less than 5 minutes of screen time. Not just in any X-Men movie, but the movie that's adapting the Dark Phoenix saga and some of Astonishing X-Men, 2, stories from the comics in which Cyclops is crucial. And they kill him off like a red shirt from the original Star Trek. Beautiful. Now, I know that Marsden was playing another character in Superman Returns at the same time, but this is not the way that they had to deal with it. They could have done something else here. They could have done, again, the same thing that they did in X-Men 2, where they reduce his screen time. I wouldn't have liked that, but it wouldn't be as bad as just killing him off. Because with the reduced screen time, there still could have been things done to, develop his character. Instead, what we get out of this is basically it's saying, "Oh, it's just Cyclops. It's not an important character." The original member of the team, the leader, the guy who's been in most of the huge storylines from the comics. Who is that? Okay, I think I'm done with that rant. We can move on to the next character that this movie horribly wastes, which is Rogue. So, I said in the review of the first movie that this is not in any way the character of the comics aside from the powers and the accent. And yeah, I said in the second review, too, that I thought that they were starting to improve her. But in this movie, they just throw any chance of that out the window. Because she doesn't do anything in this movie. What she does in this movie is she whines and then removes her powers. And that's it. She does not actually help the team in any way. She does not play any important role with the X-Men whatsoever. She's just a girl that wants to kiss her boyfriend, and that's it. That's all she is now in these films. I haven't seen the Rogue cut of Days of Future Past as of recording this, so I don't know if that did anything to redeem this version of the character. But we'll see. I'm planning on getting that, and that'll be the version of the film that I review when I get to it. But yeah, as of this movie, this is just a horrible mishandling of Rogue. Now, yes, she has a horrible, misfortunate situation that she's in where she can't, make physical contact with anybody. But, that's been a part of her character in the comics. But that's not all that her character is. You can't just make her just that. Like I said, she should have been helping the team. She should have been part of the team instead of taking the cure, She should have been there with them at the big final battle. But then again, that's the problem with this film, is that they shoved so much shit into this movie all at once. So really, I don't know if they could have done her justice, because they had to focus on so many other different things. But they still find time to make Wolverine the main character, even though his arc concluded in the second movie. I love Wolverine, and I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but he should not be the central focus of the movies to the detriment of the other characters. When you get to this movie, after his arc is done, about finding out about his past and all that, it's time to focus on somebody else. But instead, what they do is they make him the leader of the team, instead of Storm, who, if you're not going to have Cyclops, then Storm is the one that should be leading the team. But no, Wolverine's the leader by the end, because he's the one who, he gives the rousing speech at the end of, we stand together, X-Men, and then he's giving orders when they go to the final battle. He's the leader, not Storm. So, yeah, again, Storm. Wasted character in this series. You can make Wolverine work as the leader of the team. I actually really liked the Wolverine in the X-Men animated series. But do you know what that series did? It allowed the other characters around Logan to be important and develop. Oh. This might be kind of awkward when I get to the Wolverine and Logan, which I actually like. And I'm like, they focus on Wolverine too much, and then we get to the solo movies, so I'm like, I like these. And it's like, well, I love Wolverine. It's just, when you have the X-Men movies, and you're focusing on all of the X-Men, maybe you shouldn't focus entirely on one character. Yeah, anyway, so what are the positives of this movie? What are things about this movie that I actually like? Well, for one thing, like I was saying, Hugh Jackman still doing an excellent job as Wolverine, even though I think the character is overdone in these movies. At least he was always done to the absolute best. You also got Professor Xavier and Magneto, who are also great as ever in these movies. Kelsey Grammer as Beast is a great addition. He does a really good job as Beast, and I think it kind of sucks that he never got to play him in anything else aside from a cameo in Days of Future Past. And that's about it. Like I said, though, I don't think it's, as a film, I don't think it's terrible. It's fairly enjoyable. But for me, as a fan of the X-Men, there's too much in it that just is frustrating. But, like, I have a few superhero movies that the majority opinion, most people hate, but I actually really like. And I'm thinking my next review might be on one of those films. I'm not gonna say exactly which one it is, but yeah, it's a hated, a mostly hated superhero film that I think is. Well, I want to rewatch it and then review it as, is this just my guilty pleasure, or is it really kind of underrated? But we'll get to that either next video or at a later date. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this movie. So, also, as I said in my update video, a friend of mine and I, the same friend who I do the comic conference videos with, we reviewed Kill la Kill. And that review is going to be up on his channel in a couple weeks. So there'll be a link in the description to go subscribe to his channel if you want to check it out. We're going to be talking about anime regularly on his channel. The next one we're going to talk about is a series called Erased, which I just finished watching the other day. And I just want to say, that series is an emotional roller coaster. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to talk about. Anyway, so thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time, and you have a good day.